everyone. My name is Tina Ying. I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager in the Microsoft 365 Compliance team.
And I'm Roberto Iglesias, a Principal PM Manager with the Microsoft 365 Engineering team.
Today, we are going to show you what's new in Microsoft Information Governance and Records Management to let you be the first to know about all the exciting announcements we are making at Ignite. A quick overview of the agenda. We will start from sharing with you how we view information governance and records management. What are some of the challenges we saw from the customers and in the market? And then Roberto will share with you what's all the new things that we are shipping in the area. And lastly, we'll close out the session with a customer case study who just moved a lot of their information from legacy software into Microsoft 365. So let's dive into the session. You might be familiar with this challenge that data is everywhere, especially during this pandemic situation. Your employees are working from everywhere. They're using email to communicate, they're using SMS message or instant message, Teams message, or they're using a lot of meeting recordings online and save all those data on premises or on their endpoint devices. And on top of that complexity, there are a lot of data protection regulations out there. So based on statistics, it tells us that on average, there are more than 200 updates from 1,000 regulatory authority every day. And so it adds a lot of complexity on how you can manage your data landscape. Some other statistics also show that in the next 2 years, the volume of data will grow by 4.5 times. And it's not just growing from one place. On average, each organization are managing 5 content repositories at the same time. So you can imagine the cost and the efforts that you need to manage this silo system at the same time. It's very difficult. However, we are seeing some progress here. Almost 70% of the company are using AI to automate their information governance. So are you a leader or a follower in this area? And I want to use 2 stories to make the statistic here real. Data hoarding is the new threat. And then these are 2 real stories happened in the real world. So a few years ago, a global entertainment company, they had a hacker attack. The data leakage exposed their employees' personal data to malicious people outside of the company. Some of the employees who have left the company for more than 10 years, that their data has 0 value to the company, but their social security number, their medical records are out there. So they are exposed to potential identity theft for the rest of their life. Keeping everything is really a new threat to the companies now. It's like you don't have appropriate security control to protect your information. And you're keeping information that has no value to the company, while you're bearing a lot of liability and also the risk around that data. The second story I want to share with you here is about duplicating information in silo systems. It's actually a real story from our financial industry customer. They came to Microsoft to ask for help. They are now copying data in different systems. So for example, their legal team is using one e-discovery tool, so they need to copy and make the copy of the content into that e-discovery tool. And they need to adhere to FINRA requirements. So they are copy another copy of content into a supervision tools. At the same time, they are using an on-premises records management system. So they are making copy of their business critical records into that on-premises solution. So you can imagine like how much they need to manage here. They need to make sure the content is in sync between the systems. Also, they need to make sure each of them is secure and compliant. So they ask us how Microsoft can help. And Microsoft introduced the Microsoft Information Governance solution to them that help them to manage information lifecycle and records intelligently with the 4 key capabilities that you see on the slide. The first one is that you will be able to manage the data in place within Microsoft 365, where your user collaborate every day. And so it provides the best user experience. And also, you don't need to duplicate information into other systems anymore. You can just leverage the Microsoft 365 security and compliance solution here. And the second capability here is that we provide many methods to help you to auto-classify data so you can govern data at scale. You don't need to rely on your employees to manually classify data, and then they can focus on what they need to get done at work. Third, when you are managing information records, there are certain regulations that you need to adhere to. And Microsoft 365 provides capability like proof of disposal, complete audit trail, and classification insights to help you to demonstrate compliance to your regulators and auditors. And it's not just for Microsoft 365 data. We also work with selected partners like Telemessage and GlobalNet to help you to bring data into Microsoft 365. So you can bring in data like from other systems like Slack or Facebook or Twitter to leverage this one integrated and intelligent platform to govern all your information landscape. We want to help you to achieve your information governance objective to keep just what you need and delete what you don't. On top of that, we also provide specialized solution records management to help you to govern your high-value information, the crown jewel of your corporate information. And Roberto will share with you all the new excitement we are driving in these two areas, information governance and records management. Our solution has been recognized by industry analysts. We have been a Gartner Magic Quadrant leader for both enterprise information archiving and content service platform. And you can learn more about this from the Gartner report. And now I'm going to give the stage to Roberto to show the most exciting section here, what's new in Microsoft Information Governance and Records Management. Roberto, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Tina. I am super excited to share what's new with all of you. We have lots of new features, so we will walk through each one of them, and there will be additional sessions diving deeper into most of them. This will be a whirlwind tour of everything we're announcing, so hold on as we'll go through a lot of different areas. First, let's start with something that's absolutely top of mind for everyone in these unprecedented times, which is remote communication and collaboration through Teams and Yammer. We all know that we've been living inside these tools for most of this year, and we're holding more virtual meetings, yams, and messaging each other much more than ever before. Because of this reason, we want to ensure that you can continue to feel that Microsoft 365 provides you the best and most secure and protected way to collaborate, and you can trust the governance policies that you put on these platforms. This is why we have two big new announcements to share with you today. First of all, we are announcing the public preview of retention policies for Yammer messages. This will allow everyone who is leveraging Yammer's native mode, which is the one that allows you to unlock all of our compliance functionality, to set up retention policies on all messages, or even choose different policies between private messages and community messages. And like every retention policy, you will be able to scope this to only certain users or certain communities within your tenant. This is all geared to help you meet your governance needs. Now, combined with already existing policies on modern groups and OneDrive, you'll be able to cover all of Yammer messages and files, which are stored in SharePoint and OneDrive for those locations. Now, switching gears to Teams, we've all been living every day through Teams meetings lately, and these have become the key place where decisions are made, announcements are shared, and where everybody connects through. So we're glad to announce today retention support for Teams meeting recordings. Starting late October, meeting recordings will start being stored in SharePoint and OneDrive, depending on how your meeting is held. Essentially, if the meeting happens in a Teams channel, then the recording will be stored within the corresponding SharePoint site associated with the team. However, if it's not, it'll go to a recordings folder in your OneDrive. As you well know, we already provide robust retention support for SharePoint and OneDrive, including retention policies and labeling of specific items. All of these will be supported for Teams meeting recordings, but we know that you might want to also have a particular retention period or expiration on your recordings, particularly only for them, which is why we're also providing you with a new way to leverage our property-based auto labeling to automatically apply a retention label. Check out our documentation of this new feature for a specific way to target them as they start moving there soon. We know that many of you have been waiting for this to complete your team's governance needs. Continuing down this path of where work is taking place nowadays, we believe that more than ever before, every organization is not relying on a single platform or vendors. We hear this from customers all the time. And since we understand that a lot of these platforms are not Microsoft ones, and you need to be able to provide the same level of compliance in all of them, we're proud to share that we've accelerated our investment in data connectors that help you bring data into Microsoft 365 to release a total of 25 pre-built data connectors ready for you to use right from the Compliance Center. These 25 pre-built connectors now include more native connectors built by us at Microsoft, but also we're announcing today our partnership with GlobalNet and Telemessage, two great partners who have integrated into our connector platform and brought new connectors for systems like Slack, Zoom, WhatsApp, many text messaging providers, and more, as you can see from here, this full list. What's great about this partnership for you is that you no longer have to go build your own connector externally or find the right partner that has it for you. You'll be able to discover all of these connectors right from the Compliance Center and follow an easy onboarding experience to get them enabled. Since these connectors have been validated by our team, you can expect them to work just like the ones built by Microsoft and provide the same ability to map your users like you're used to. Now, as you've come to expect from our compliance data connectors so far, bringing in data through them unlocks the full potential of Microsoft 365 compliance, including analyzing code of conduct violations through communication compliance, setting appropriate retention and deletion policies through information governance, and discovering or exporting data for legal matters through advanced e-discovery. Check out your tenant as these data connectors are starting to roll out right now. With all the data that you're going to be bringing in, let's talk about classifying that data within Microsoft 365 for your governance and retention purposes. We already provide you with a rich set of ways for you to categorize it either manually or automatically applying retention labels. And today, we're ecstatic to share that we're adding one new very powerful method to auto-apply retention labels. We're integrating with Project Cortex and allowing you to use SharePoint's document understanding model to automatically apply a retention label. So let's take a look at how this will work. When you create a new document understanding model in the SharePoint Content Center, you will be able to add files which are samples of the content type that you're trying to look for. In this case, let's call it contracts, for example. And then you'll be able to teach the model whether these are positive or negative samples of contracts. Once you've done that and configured your model and any metadata that you want to extract, all that goodness that Project Cortex provides you, you'll be able to select the retention label, which the document understanding model will automatically apply to any files that are identified. So when I select some contracts and upload them where the model is already published, I can see that besides applying the correct content type per the document understanding model, the correct retention label is applied and items are even declared as a record if that's configured in the appropriate label. Now, for anybody using SharePoint and already getting started with Project Cortex, this will be a great way for you to automatically apply your labels. Speaking of records, let's move on to our next announcement. As you all know, we've had retention labels which declare items as records for a while. And these are the foundation of modern records management in Microsoft 365, as they allow to prevent the modification of the contents of the file while still allowing certain collaboration and manageability of those records. However, we know that some of our customers with very stringent records requirements still need to prevent additional actions like the removal of the label or editing of the metadata of the file. It's for this reason that we're introducing today the public preview of regulatory record labels, which are specifically built for those organizations looking for the maximum immutability on records. As you would expect, this will be a new option available for you from the file plan of records management solution, where you'll be able to select this item to be marked as a regulatory record. Given the restrictions this label imposes, we will be providing some warnings to both admins and users when some of these actions are taken. In this case, we remind you that creating a regulatory record is an operation that will have certain consequences. And of course, following our principle of built-in records management, you can apply this label right from the same SharePoint, OneDrive, or Outlook experience that you use retention labels with today. And we can see, for example, here, one of the warnings of end users or information workers applying the label. With the introduction of this new label, we're thrilled to share that SharePoint, OneDrive, Exchange, Teams, and Skype for Business have been validated by independent consultant Cohasset Associates to determine that when configured as recommended, they can help meet SEC, FINRA, and CFTC regulations. This report will be available very soon in our technical documentation. And last, but most definitely not least of our announcements, last year we shared at Ignite our trainable classifiers, which use the power of machine learning to help identify items across Microsoft 365 where pattern recognition was not well suited. Today, we're introducing a new enhancement to them, which will allow you to refine them even further after publishing by providing detailed feedback on the matches. Let's take a look. Using Content Explorer, items that match a trainable classifier that's been auto-applying a retention label will be able to be navigated to, and feedback can be provided on individual documents or as in bulk if you determine the match was correct or not for a certain location, for example. In this feedback, you'll be able to indicate whether the document is a match or not a match for the classifier. You can also suggest that the item was a match for another classifier if that's applicable. In this particular example, you'll notice that in the match type column, it says close match. Close match items were near the threshold and are not labeled. Match type, when it actually is matched, will say match, and those are the ones that did meet the threshold and have been labeled. Providing feedback on close match items is a great way to improve your model's performance. After you've provided feedback 30 times, the trainable classifier will go into retraining automatically and process the feedback. However, we won't update the model without your review. We'll guide you through the classifier page in the retraining section of data classification. Here you'll see a comparison view of the published classifier and the retrained classifier, including the performance statistics of each one. You can also explore each item with feedback and see the published versus retrained classifier's verdict in a side-by-side comparison of both. With that amazing announcement, we conclude the fast tour through the biggest news around information governance and records management at this year's Ignite. Since I'm sure you all want to get started right away, here's an easy reference guide of what we talked through today and when it'll be available to you. We can't wait for you to try this out on your own tenant and continue your information governance journey. Before we go, however, I want to spend a little bit of time sharing with you a case study from one of our customers and how they have leveraged the features that we have already shipped in production to advance their digital transformation journey with information governance and records management. One of the largest global energy companies with tens of thousands of employees was looking for a solution to transform information governance to make it easy to do the right thing while managing information to meet regulatory obligations. They worked with one of our partners, Infotection, to help shape the program and create value out of information while reducing operational, legal, and reputational risks. After evaluating different vendors, Microsoft Information Governance stood out as the clear winner. With information governance, Microsoft 365 becomes a collaboration and productivity platform that can help achieve compliance by design. The automated policy enables the company to manage information and records at scale, so their employees don't have to worry about information governance as much as before, and they can focus on their core to deliver business impact. Now, their previous legacy solution required moving records to another repository that was not able to support advanced versioning. The record versioning in Microsoft 365 enables their end users to unlock a document to edit and collaborate while maintaining the history of the document for compliance and e-discovery. The company saved a significant amount of cost by transitioning from legacy platforms to Microsoft Information Governance. They were able to migrate more than 70 terabytes of records from the legacy record systems to Microsoft 365. They have over 400 million files governed by automated policies in SharePoint Online, OneDrive for Business, and Teams. And they have more than 12,000 SharePoint site collections upgraded to the modern records management experience. All of this is an amazing example of what you can achieve as well, leveraging all these features. And last but not least, I wanted to make sure that I encourage all of you to dive deeper into this topic and to learn more about all the features we talked about today and what we can offer in Microsoft 365 information governance and records management. We have several sessions that you can check out, as well as a vast documentation and announcements, including our blog. If you haven't already, feel free to start a free trial of E5 compliance and try all these features by yourself. And also, we really want to hear your feedback. We really take it to heart and try to get the product to be better for you. So please give us feedback through user voice and help us improve the product for you. Thank you very much and hope you have a fantastic night.